Alright, in this video we're going to be talking about aspect ratios. Now this is going to be a two-part video. The first part obviously is today or right now, and the second part there should be a link that's connecting the second part. Let's go ahead and start. Alright, so an aspect ratio, very simply, is you're comparing sizes of different dimensions. So we're going to be around the world of TVs, and the two parts of the TV that gets compared is going to be the height of the TV and the width of the TV. All right. So when you create an aspect ratio, you would do something like width colon height, or you might even write it as a fraction. But anyway, what you're doing is you're comparing the two to get the overall dimension. Now, this may be like, what are you talking about? So we're going to give you a real life example. All right, so this is a very quick history of the screens of a TV. Now, when I was growing up, not to date myself, this was the TVs that we used to watch, okay? Notice how rectangular the actual screen is, okay? Now, obviously, if you're really observant, you notice that this is how we used to change the channel, the two dials. Now, when I became a teenager, we started doing TVs like this. Notice, okay, still you have a more rectangular screen, but it's a more updated TV. Now, some of you guys have probably never seen screens like that, but now you have what is called the widescreen, okay? Now, you pretty much have grown up with it, so it's probably second nature. But here's the thing I want you to pay attention to, and notice how rectangular the screen is. It's wider, okay? This is the stuff that you see now, all right, on especially new shows, things of that nature. We are going to kind of compare. So here's the takeaway from this screen, or from this thing that you're looking at, is look at how you have a rectangular shape versus look at the square shape. All right, and we're going to make mathematical comparisons, calculations, so on and so forth. Okay, now, another thing that you might be used to, or might have seen, is these black bars. So let's say you're watching the TV, you notice that part of your TV screen has the black bars. All right, we're also going to dive into this world as well. All right, so we're going to take aspect ratio, we're going to take TVs and put it all together, and we're going to answer a couple questions. Now, first thing that we have is just a little review about the Pythagorean theorem. All right, now, because of time, I'm not going to review the Pythagorean theorem, so if you need me to go over it, these are individual questions that you just need to ask. But moving on. Again, have you ever seen the black bars? These are two different types of examples where you have horizontal black bars here, vertical black bars here. All right, so we're going to, again, go into that world. Now, let's go ahead and just dive into a couple of questions. All right, so what we have is a graphing calculator. All right, you should be very familiar with these types of things here. So it says if you are using a TI-84 calculator and the width is 96 pixels and the height is 64 pixels, what is the aspect ratio? Now, the overall concept of aspect ratio is very simple. So if you look at the screen, we have the width from here to here, which is 96. We have the height, from there to there is 64. Now, the aspect ratio is always written the width compared to the height, okay? If you were to write 96 colon 64, that would actually be incorrect, because it always needs to be, your final answer always needs to be in lowest form or simplest form. So 96, 64, if I was to divide all of this down, I would have an aspect ratio of 3:2. That would be my aspect ratio. Now you might be saying, well, you went too fast. Well, let's try another. All right, here's another rectangle, the width and the height. All right, so we have a 56:32. Now you might be saying, how did you convert down so fast? Well, it's very similar to simplifying a fraction. All right, look at 56, look at 32. Let's see, they're both even, so I'm going to divide both by 2, divide both by 2. So let's see, So when I do that, and I'm going to write 28, 16. Well, they're even again, so I'm going to divide by 2 again, because remember, you just keep dividing until you can't divide anymore. Let's see, this is going to be 14 dot, I'll do this, 8. And then you're going to divide again. And I'm doing this very quickly, so hopefully I don't mess up. So let's see, 14, 8. Let's see, I can still divide by 2. Divide by 2. Running out of room. And I'm going to just follow the arrow, go over there. 7, 4. Well, I can't divide 7 and 4 by anything evenly, so alright, that's it. That's my aspect ratio. That's it, 7, 4. Now, same exact thing for this one here. It'd be 260. You do the same exact thing, but because of time, we're going to go ahead and speed up. And your aspect ratio would be 10, 3. There you go. All right, now it says the width and the height. All right, so the width and the height of the TV is given. So rather than actually giving you a picture of a TV, I just gave you a rectangle. It says calculate the following size. Now this is where a lot of students may not get this. And that is the size of the TV is actually the diagonal. So let me go back to the picture of the TV. All right, so let's say if you were buying this TV. All right, let me clean this up a little bit. Let's say if you were buying this TV and Walmart, Best Buy, whatever, advertised this TV as a 60-inch widescreen, WS, widescreen. Now, the 60-inch, this right here would be the size, okay? Now, again, going back to what some folks may not know, but the size of the TV is not the height. So that would not be 60 inches. That's a no-no. The size of the TV would not be the width. Nope. The actual, what did I just do? Let's see, I was doing so good too. Oh, there it is. All right, the actual size of the TV is the distance from the measurement between the low, or basically from corner to corner. That's what the size of the TV is, okay? So, whenever you hear the word size or read the word size, that's what I'm referring to. So, going back down to this question here, we'll go back down to this question. If the width and height of the TV, now, what we don't know is the size. All right, so we have this right here, X, we don't know it. But let me get my highlighter out so you can see it, because most of math is seeing it. I highlight the size, I highlight the height, and then I highlight the width. Notice I have a right triangle. So now we go back into the Pythagorean theorem, kind of like the stuff that we walked over a little, or that I skipped a little bit. So this would be A, this would be C, B, and of course X would be C. So remember, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That would be 40 squared plus 30 squared is equal to C squared. Now at this point in your high school career, you should have already have worked with the Pythagorean theorem. All right, so that ends up being, oh my goodness, I'm writing all over everything. Let's see, 2,500 is equal to C squared. I'm going to square root both sides, and C ends up being 50. So this ends up being a 50-inch TV. All right, very simple. For the next one, you do the exact same. Again, looking at your setup here, you do not know what C is, so you would, again, the same exact thing, and I'm not going to do the whole thing for you. So that would be 50, oh, get rid of that. So that would be 50 squared plus 28 squared equals C squared. That should be a square. Now I'm going to pause the video just to speed up a little bit. And it would basically give you 57 inches. That would be it. All right. So the next question here, very similar to what we just did. Sam and Pete both have 55-inch TVs. All right. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video and check some real quick. The reason I wanted to check it is because this question right here on your notes, this is a really good question, but it's hard to visualize it, so I'm going to skip to the next one, which is this one. Find the width and the height of this particular TV, because this right here is going to be somewhere you're going to get a lot of questions. All right, now you might be asking, wait a minute, my worksheet doesn't look exactly like this, but watch this. Aha! Look at that. I just have it hidden for right now, so I have a place to write. Now it says the aspect ratio is 4:3, okay? Now whenever you're given a problem where you're given the aspect ratio, but you do not know what the width or the height and width are, you're actually going to have to go and take the aspect ratio into the problem, all right? So let me clean this up. Now, this is where it might get a little confusing, so pay attention. So you have the aspect ratio of the width is 4, but in the problem, you're going to write 4x. You have the height, which is 3, but you're not going to put a 3 there. You got to put a 3x. All right. Now, using my highlighter, again, notice I have the size. Notice I'm given an expression for my height, and I'm given an expression for my width. There is my right triangle, which means I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Remember, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, I don't know, and I'm just going to go ahead and call this will be my a, this would be my b, this would be my c, all right? Now, you might be saying, well, why is 4x a? Well, if you want to make it b, feel free. I always just like to put the width as a. All right, now, pay attention. Very simple, but pay attention. We are going to say 4x squared in parentheses. B is 3x, so plus 3x squared, 3x squared, there it is equal to c, which is 25 squared. All right? Moving on. We're simplifying. 4x squared ends up being 16x squared. 3x squared ends up being, oh, I'm losing my technology here. Ends up being 9x squared, and 25 squared, I believe, I want to say is 625. Let me check that. All right, good. Now, again, combining like terms, 16x squared, 9x squared ends up being 25x squared is equal to 625. All right, now, at this point, it's basic algebra. We're going to take 25, we're going to divide by 25, and then you end up with x squared is equal to 25. Well, x is squared, so we have to de-x it, so to speak. So I'm going to square root x squared and 25 to where x is equal to 5. There you go. That's the hardest part of the whole thing. Now, going back to the original problem, we don't know what the width is. The width is 4x. We have no idea what the, but we know that x is equal to 5. So my stronger algebra students, you pretty much know where I'm going with this. So the width is 4x, but x is 5, so that'll be 4 times 5, which gives me a width of 20. Same thing for the height. 3x, well, that's 3 times 5, which gives me it says length here, I guess I should say height, a height of 15. Now the area, very simple, and it is width times height. Well, width and height, 20 times 15, I believe that's going to give me 300 square inches. All right, so that's how you do it. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching.